All right, what's going on, everybody? Jake here from Made for the Range, back on the Made for the Range YouTube channel with Johnny Thompson here at the Iwi Callaway Performance Center in Carlsbad. We just finished up hitting the X-Forge stuff. Phenomenal. Loved that. The differences between the two were really, really cool. Excited about those for sure. But now we're rocking Ai150, which is not the direction I thought AI was going to go first. That went a little bit more players oriented.
Yes.
So talk to us about this. I'm also really curious the catalyst for why to go more player in the AI series than to go the other way.
Yeah, so this iron, TCBs.
Yeah.
Phenomenal iron.
Yes.
Played by some of our best players,
Yep.
Sam Burns, Akshay,
Yeah.
John Rahm, you name them. This isn't a replacement to this TCB. It does separate itself, but the chassis is kind of familiar. So
Okay.
you're gonna see a similar offset to the TCBs, but it is a little bit longer in blade length.
Yep.
One of the big things too, again, adding that tri-sole into everything now, so you're gonna have that leading edge relief,
Yep.
which is just gonna be great for turf interaction. High polished chrome, it looks very,
Yeah, it
very
does.
nice,
It
looks
looks
very,
real good.
very premium. So this iron though, 4 through 7, you're gonna have a hollow body construction.
Okay.
With a steel faceplate.
Cool.
When you get into the 8, 9 wedge 11s, you're gonna have a solid body, but still that same steel faceplate.
Oh,
So
okay.
compared to the X-Forge that we just hit, you're gonna hear and feel more out of the face with these compared to the X-Forge with that 1020 carbon is really soft.
Okay.
So this is gonna feel like a firmer hit.
Sure.
Turf interaction should be very similar. The idea is to create a player's iron that had a little bit more forgiveness than what the TCBs, and again, from the turf interaction on the sole, that's gonna help.
Okay.
And then also just that little bit more length, a little bit more blade length,
Yeah.
makes it a little bit more friendly for the scratch to 5 handicap.
Okay.
Definitely a player look when you put it on the ground.
Okay. We can call this like a bloated TCB with a little
Yeah.
bit of speed, you could
Yeah.
say. That coming out of that window that steep
Yeah.
was really good. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you feel the difference in the impact?
1000%.
Yeah.
It's definitely firm. Whoa. Okay.
So 76 carry, 7 iron.
At 67. So let's talk a little bit about that. I wouldn't expect this to spin like that. So
What were you expecting?
I like 6,000. I would have
Okay.
probably been happy with an
Yeah.
iron like this. At 6,000, high 5s even. Like I probably would have been fine with, especially out on grass. I think low 6,000s would have been fine. For this to get close to the traditional, don't speak of it, 1,000 per number,
Yeah.
is really, really cool. Is what's causing that? Like what in this construction helps this spin a little bit more than I would think it would?
So again, this iron was designed for a better player. So better player, have higher lofts, groove package. It's basically a combination that we don't want this type of iron to look like a player's club, but then perform like, a high launching,
Yeah.
low spinning
Yeah.
game improvement iron. So if we gave this to a tour and it was under spinning, it's done.
Yeah.
Like nobody's gonna play it.
Yeah.
Because again, you can scrub spin, you can't create spin.
Sure.
So we wanted it to be designed to have the same kind of spin rates as what our tour irons do. But again, you're gonna get some forgiveness factor in there with the turf interaction, and then the 4 through 7 with that
Yeah.
hollow body, it allows us to create some, a little bit more forgiveness
Sure.
on that end.
And I'm usually looking I'm probably 124 out of a 7 iron, typically I'd say. So this is right at 126. I mean, that's producing plenty. But again, similar to kind of what I said with the X-Forge, it doesn't feel, it's a little firmer, obviously. So down to the 7 is the hollow body, right?
Yes.
So it's a little bit firmer, expected on that, but it's not, there's no click or bad sound. I think that's a key for
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Big time. And we've had irons in the past that were hollow bodied. We've used microspheres and things
Yeah.
like that. They had a different sound.
Yeah.
Like you could hit it and you knew, a better player would know, like, oh, this is not
100%,
a solid piece.
yeah. That's nice.
There's probably a half groove high on the face. Let's see how different that was in the pure one. Carry 183.
Yeah, 183 mile an hour faster, easy launch, and 5,800, like you said, a little bit probably high toe is great,
This iron is going to be really interesting because I think we can get down in like the 4s and 5s, and I think there's PGA Tour players that are going to look at these and see that they kind of fit a PGA Tour preference window, but they get a little bit more forgiveness at it. And again, it has that tri-sol. So I could see some like, you know, some Ai150 combo sets with maybe like a TCBs in the short irons.
It's really, really stable through the ground. Like, so typically when you get into something like this, I'm gonna say just in some competitors that would have something similar, we're right back to the peer number too. It's almost identical. I would say that this gets difficult to feel like through the turf it's not a little bit slow. Right? Where this one, I don't feel that at all. It doesn't feel stuck, and it doesn't feel like it exits slow whatsoever. It feels like it's coming in and out very, very nicely. And I didn't realize until you said it when we started this video, because I didn't catch it in the briefing, that we do have that tri-sol in this too, which is so cool to have in something like this. I can only imagine like what the pitching wedge of this feels like, because it doesn't have that hollow. That's got to be such a gratifying feel off of that pitching wedge. Yeah,
the sole story is huge because it's basically implemented in all of our new irons, and if you can make a club feel pure through the ground, like the hit's always going to feel better. Like if the club's moving quickly through the ground.
Oh, that didn't touch the ground.
Come on, let's use that tri-sol.
Yeah, no kidding.
But the point I was trying to get to was that you can make a beautiful iron, like everything can be right, but if the sole and the bounce aren't right and a player gets steep on it, it's not a good feeling. And then they might even get a little tentative. You get it like Travelers. I remember last year we were testing a muscleback iron. That was the first time I saw the very intense tri-sol. And Thomas Dietrich is one where he played those old like MB18 dots that were very Muir-like. Those have no bounce and are super sharp leading edge. And we gave him those things and he was like, oh my gosh, because we're hitting off of, you know, soft, wet, bent. And he's taken, I mean, you could see the difference. It was like a visible difference between the two. And he was like, this feels so much better. His caddy's like, we do hit some chunks sometimes. And I was like, oh, I'm sure. But he loved those irons, you know, and it was just, he lived with, you know, like if he got steep, it was going to get a little diggy. He got his irons at Memorial. Tested them, almost played them there, and then went up to Canada the next week and put them in play. And it was like his coach called me. He was like just beaming.
Everything.
Caddy was like, dude, he loves these irons.
That's crazy.
Like, I knew he would.
Yeah, no kidding. So, as far as like the sole story goes, from a marketing standpoint or from a visibility to the consumer standpoint, I feel like that message has become a lot more clear in the last couple years. What do you think has caused that? Because obviously, like that's been a thing on tour forever, right? Like turf interaction and how the sole is designed for players at that level is a discussion every time they hit an iron. But for the consumer space, from a marketing standpoint, from a content standpoint, from a visibility standpoint, it just hasn't been something that has come across. But it seems like in the last 2 years, let's call it, even in just the last year, it's been a way bigger story, like more promotion behind it. What do you think has caused that? I'm going to try to not mess you up with a bad shot on this one. There we go. Right back to
it. I'm not exactly sure the best answer for that because there's trends on tour that happen, and if you're paying enough attention and you're listening to guys talk. And I don't know if like golf swings have gotten steeper or they've gotten shallower. Like I couldn't tell you that one of those things have definitely happened. All I can say is that when we brought out our first iron that had that tri-sol on it, there was a discernible difference between some of the irons that we had out at the time where turf interaction was like a noticeable difference, like an improvement. So I'm not sure why that's happened in the industry. It's hard to say, but I'm glad we're there because we've now tested 3 irons that have that same sole. And turf interaction has been great for a guy that's steep. You're like you said yourself. Me personally.
Other than the super chunk, we're doing like this is way shallower than I normally would do.
I always just look at like depth of divots. Like did it exit steeper than it entered? And that's what I noticed is that the exit point and the entry point are gotten way more level.
Yeah, that's cool.
So if I'm a cover, like I get down on it, and this sole is like going to help me tremendously.
Yeah.
And there's guys on tour, they change their windows, and normally when a guy drops a window, he's going to cover it harder, and it's only going to make that shot more forgiving because it's not going to jostle through and slow down through the hit.
Sure.
It's a big part of feel too. I mean, there's performance advantages, but there's also feel, because when it just exits quick, it just feels so much better. You feel like a golfer.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It feels like there's nothing kind of in your way, I guess is the right way to put that. All right, let's finish here with a good one. And what's funny is if you look at those again, so the 3 that I've hit well were almost the exact same numbers. It's sitting at 126. It's at like 60, 300, and about 180 yards in the air. Like that's the consistency off of that. It's very, very cool. Yeah. But a lot of that comes from the AI, right? That's part of that story.
And a great golf ball.
Yeah.
You've hit these really nicely. This and that X-Forge Max have been nice.
Really good. Yeah. Slow down just a little bit.
76 carry.
70, yeah. 2 yards of a difference. Really cool, dude.
Pretty good.
Awesome. All right, well, that was Ai150. We've got one more bucket here to cover. We got Thai Fusion, as well as a little new thing with Thai Fusion. I've swung Thai Fusion like 3 times. I'm excited about that one. Yep. We'll get into it.
Let's go.
All right, dude, let's do it. Do you see this being something that would be like really good for like a higher level junior too?
Yeah, for sure. Higher level Champions Tour, I guarantee a Champions Tour, this will be one of the most played irons. LPGA Tour, they'll like it because they're it kind of fits their player profile, but I think they're so in love with that 1020 carbon on the X-Forge, it might be hard for them to go back. But if they can pick up some ball speed, so some of them might, they might be willing to give up a little bit of feel for some speed and have a similar look.
Wow.
But yeah, I think on Champions, Juniors for sure, because it's a solid player look.
Yeah.
But it's going to help a lot of people be better for sure.
Awesome. All right.